What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video in our talk about Transformers series. Today we're going to be looking at Studio Series 86 Blurr. Just coming out ahead of the video here. I'm only going to be doing one video a week now on Fridays because of my new work schedule is Monday to Friday. Trying to shoot 2 videos in a weekend it takes up a lot of time, and then I got to remember to put them up. So for the time being, I'm just going to do one at a time. So we're going to get Blurr this week, and I can't remember who's next week. Was it a sweep? Yeah, or no, not a sweep. Scourge. I don't have a sweep. Anyway, with that out of the way, here's Blurr in his little Cybertronian hover vehicle mode. We'll go ahead and take a look at him in all of his blue glory. I got a little paint chip there. Remember, if it doesn't come with a box in the video, it's probably I got it around its release, so it's been transformed and handled and bumped around, so your new copy hopefully won't have as many issues as my copy I'm showing. But here we are. You've got this nice light blue color throughout the vehicle. Some is paint and some is plastic, like right here. You've got, I want to say it's plastic. I don't know if there's light blue paint on this, actually. It's hard to tell. This is paint for sure. And then you've got this middling blue here on the tip of the nose cone, and then a darker blue here. That is paint that matches this blue plastic pretty good. Blue's color that I think is a little easier to color match, and especially with how many blues are on this, and how the different blues are used as accents, it does look very nice and cohesive. And there's some white paint under this clear plastic. You've got a itty bitty auto badge there. Let's see how close we can get. It's definitely cleanly painted. I just looked over my camera in real life. I just don't think, there we go, my camera's kind of picking up on it. So yeah, it's pretty cleanly painted there. There's not really any issues with that. Here he is from the side with the blue striping. You've got an arrow in the end of the engine thing here. These stripes are painted on with the actual spoiler. Molded blue in the back. No real paint to inside the thrusters or anything, but it does clean up pretty good. Right side, same as the left side. So there you have that. Here he is from the dead front, so you can see the blues there. This is got a tab, but it doesn't really hold it in place super duper well, but it's not really falling out or anything, it's just not flush. And then you've got a little cockpit in here with some details like you might be driving it, and a little seat. And here he is from the top view. Here he is from the bottom view. You got a little look at his lower legs with the blue paint, or the blue plastic and the white paint. Like I said, without taking a look at it super duper close, sometimes it's hard to tell what's paint and what's plastic. So I'm pretty sure the blue is plastic, but it's just a glossy plastic that almost looks like a paint. And then this is definitely white plastic. And then this is white paint, and this is molded in such a way that it's got kind of a different texture for standing on the ground, so you can tell the difference here, but on the top of the foot it looks like white, and the plastic might actually be white and painted blue. It's so hard to tell in some of these spots. But there you go. There he is from the bottom, and we'll just leave him upside down for now, because we're going to take a look at his accessories. He comes with a little welding torch that he could use to put someone back together. And you've got a couple of molded details on the side. It is white, so it's hard to see them. Kind of some lines on the top there. Even a little bit on the inside. And then on the other side. And then you have his rifle here, which is molded really nicely. You've got a lot of details on the side up here, this little fin and things like that. It almost looks like the middle of an avian creature, like Meadow from Breath of the Wild. If any of you play that, it kind of reminds me of his head here. But there you have it. No real empty spaces. There's some gaps back here, but the inside is as thick as the rest of the gun, so it's like a stylistic gap. Then you've got the handle and even a couple of lines down here for details. And to put these on vehicle mode, you have to take this tab right here and put it into one of the gaps on the side of the gun. They serve a purpose, and you can put it in whichever way you want. The handle is going to be sticking out one side, and it's going to be asymmetric on the front. It's not going to be perfectly lined up, so some people might not like that. I'm not a huge fan of it. And then you take this has two tabs on the bottom, and you'll put one in each of these gaps, and you want to have the torch facing the inside body of the car, and that'll help kind of hold the gun on too. So there you have his vehicle, and that popped down again with all of its accessories. And we'll go ahead and zoom out and take a look at some size comparisons. Alrighty, there you have it with a standard Rubik's Cube size Armadillo statuette, Bumblebee movie Volkswagen Bumblebee. There you have it with Deluxe Class Studio Series 86 Cup. There you have it with the next deluxe review, which is going to be Studio Series Jazz. Although if I'm doing these once a week, I might switch it up to just showing off the next review, which would be a Voyager class. So we'll see what happens in the Scourge review. Either you'll see Jazz again, or you'll see whichever Voyager I decide to do next. Experiments and unable to expect things. That's what this is going to be for a little bit. And last but not least, there you have him with Little Prime Jr. Alrighty, and with that out of the way, we'll go ahead and start transforming him. I'm going to go ahead and take his weapons off. Put them off to the side, but I think you can transform it leaving them on, because I believe they just hang off his back, but I'm going to take them off just for the sake of taking them off. First thing I'm going to do is fold down the little seat and rotate the cockpit around just to get that started and out of the way so I can maneuver things as I need to. Next thing, the arms panels up here are hook tabbed onto the nose cone, so we're going to go ahead and pop those off of the nose cone and pull them out like so. And with these spread out, we can go ahead and move the nose cone now if we want to, but I'm just going to let it chill out there until we need to do something with it. What you want to do next is unplug the back of the feet. They are tabbed in to these light blue panels, and rotate the panels forward, and they will tab in onto this darker blue tab here. So we got that tabbed in, and you can see there's the slot on it, and there's the tab on the white part of the foot. Go ahead and do that on the other side. And tab, rotate, tab in, there you go. And then we can move the arms on these white armatures, and these sections will just slot in to the arm, solidifying that into place. And they do a good job of holding in there. They're not coming out easy. I want to say this part right here is kind of hooking into somewhere in there. It looks like we can see down in there. Either way, it holds really well. And then we can go ahead and finish off his arms. We're going to rotate his hands around inside of these features that are like his wizard sleeves. And then we'll fold his wizard sleeves down, and what's happening here is this little door is opening, and we're folding it past the hand, and then we're just going to close it back up. And these don't really tab in, but there is a tab that does rest into a space here. It's resting more than tabbing. This one doesn't rest very well. Sometimes I got to play with the rotation to get them to sit right, and sometimes they're just not going to sit. So that one's not going to sit. There you go with his arms. Now coming down to the legs, we will open up these shin panels here. So we'll just pull, and you've got this rounded tab here that's going into the back side where his legs are tabbing in, and the little mushroom pegs that are his hip rotation are why this is rounded. And then you can go ahead and fold his legs out together. We'll go ahead to the front and snap his legs together. And so what you're going to do is this tab up here. The joint is going to be hooked around, so we're going to snap that into place, both sides, bend the feet down so that they are flat, and then we will separate the legs, and you can take this fin and just tuck it into the leg so that they are symmetrical. You've got his legs, and that fin doesn't look like it existed at all. Now to finish off the upper body, we can go ahead and rotate his arms down, and we can take this part, and there's a double hinge sort of set up here, and we're just going to fold it back and kind of clip. It's not really clipping, but this does sit back here inside, and I'm not sure why that snaps. It's this whole hinge going into his back, and you're just like pushing it in, and it does make a pretty loud snap just from the friction of you pushing on it compared to just how it is in there. We'll go ahead and take a look at his face. A lot of people have an issue with his face. I am not affiliated with G1 Movie, so I don't really know if this is accurate or inaccurate. The white kind of loses the details in his mouth, and the eyes look dead. But other than that, not having a lot of issues with this face that I wouldn't have with other cartoonified faces where they just look like it's a robot with a human face that moves like a human face, and that's kind of jarring. It's like Uncanny Valley, but I'm not hating on it, I'm just making observations. He's got light blue paint on his head with the little yellow insert there in the scoop on top, and this detailing here on his head is painted to look like it's coming from this, which was around the scoop area, so that's kind of nifty. Coming down the chest, you've got some details here molded in on the sides of his chest, and you've got details on the arms that were on the back of the vehicle. You've got the little light blue stripe and the Autobot symbol showed off. He's got white hands and blue joints in his arms, gives him a little color breakup. Coming down, he's just different color breakups of blue, and you've got some white down here for the pants, and as you can see, the feet match the white much better on the top than the bottom, and from the side, at least from my perspective, you can see a difference in the white here, because this is a little bit of an off-white for the texturing that it has. Coming up the side, you've just got that white and blue combination. The sides of his arms have the details that we saw in vehicle mode, and then going down his back, he does have a giant brick of light piping, but because I don't have a separate light to shine through it, his eyes just look dead. And if the light piping doesn't work in standard general lighting, then it's not really working. You shouldn't have to have a light behind your guy to light it up. But you've got the front of the vehicle as a backpack. It looks cohesive enough. Coming down the back, you've just got the back of the vehicle mode details. And then there's the bottom of his feet if you want. He's got ports. I never really mentioned these, but a lot of these guys from the Warface Arbitron line and some of the 86 dudes have ports on their feet for blast effects. But there you've got Blurr, and we'll go ahead and take a look at Articulation, which will be a full 360 swivel at the head, plus a little forward and backward. I can't tell. Oh, that's a ball joint down in there, but it's connected at the base of the neck, not the head, so you can tilt on the neck a bit. You've got a universal shoulder. It does ratchet, soft ratchet 360, and it does go out. At the initial bend here, it goes out slightly over 90 maybe, and then you can use that additional bend from where it transformed to get it a little bit more over 90. You've got bicep swivel. You've got elbow that goes 90 degrees. The wrist can technically swivel one direction due to the transformation, but it takes the sleeve with it, so it looks kind of awkward, and I don't really use it. As for the leg articulation down here, you've got a 360 waist swivel. The backpack just kind of moves around it, so it's not going to get in your way. You can literally go all the way around if you want. And then I'm getting a phone call, so we'll continue on with the thighs after I'm done with it. Alright, that's over. Hopefully this is a kind of seamless transition, but here we have him adjusted the waist. He's got a thigh swivel. That is a mushroom peg in there, and the same thing is used for Scourge, by the way, and I'll talk about it in his video, but when you rotate his, it likes to pop off the mushroom peg. You've got basically 90 at the knee, and then for the feet, you can go forward a lot, do the transformation, and it's ratcheted. It's clicky-clacky ratchets. Nothing back if you have it fully flat, and you get that much tilting out of it. Now, I have to go do something, so I'm going to stop the recording here, and then we will continue on with his accessories when I am done, and then we'll get into the comparisons for robot mode. Alrighty, getting into accessories for the welding torch, you can simply use the peg, put it into his hand, and now he can weld stuff. He can weld, as MGO would say. And he can hold his gun, his rifle, in this hand. And there he is holding his accessories. We'll go ahead and test the theory about the gun just hanging off his butt here. Pull that out. I'm afraid that it'll just pop off with this. So yeah, it is short enough that it's not going to touch the ground if you want to have it hanging off his back. It does hang a little low, looks kind of like a tail, but I generally don't store his gun back here. Now, if you notice, when you have this snapped in, it is wobbly. But if you take his, oh, it's on him. I'm looking for the thing and it's not off his hand yet. If you take his welding torch and you put it in here, like it was in vehicle mode, and then you clip this in, now the waist wiggles significantly, or the backpack wiggles significantly less, but now it is going to stop the waist swivel this far. So if you want a stable back and you want the welding torch to stay stored, you can store it there, but it is going to be at the deficit of the waist only going this far, which I think is perfectly far enough for most poses. And if you want to do something more extreme, he might even have the welding torch attached, so you wouldn't have to worry about choosing. Or you can put it in a baggie in a drawer, like most people will want to do. But there you have Blurr in his robot mode. So we'll go ahead and just gently pose the Blurr so we can get ready for our robot mode size comparisons. Alrighty, and for starters here we have our standard Rubik's Cube size Gormagala statuette, the masterpiece sized Volkswagen Bumblebee from the Bumblebee movie, Studio Series 86 Cup, Studio Series 86 Jazz, with the MP44 Optimus Prime mold. Last but not least, here he is with Prime Jr., aka the legendaries, or the legend scale New Age Prime, if people aren't aware. His name is Prime Jr. now. That pretty much does it for Blurr. It is kind of like they took the Titans Returns version and made some improvements to it. The legs are less bulky, they don't have those giant things on the side, etc. The things on the back of his arms may or may not be bigger. I haven't had the Blurr mold from Titans Returns in a long time, and I know my Brainstorm has smaller ones in comparison to the Blurr, but they are there on the cartoon from what I've seen. I don't think they're this big, but they are there. Even the Masterpiece versions by third-party companies have them, so I'm not going to hate on the Wizard sleeves. The wrist rotation being locked by the Wizard sleeves is kind of, poopy. I'm not caring for that so much, but some deluxes like Cup don't even have the wrist rotation, so I'm not going to cry about it. And I think that it's just a really fun figure to transform and play with. The loose backpack, I found a fix for that by keeping the welding torch on it at all times. If I throw the gun in the drawer, the welding torch doesn't really obscure anything or make the vehicle mode look really weird, and it helps solidify the backpack. So if the gun goes, the torch is gonna stay. And that's basically all my gripes. I think the paint on the figure looks really good. The face doesn't bother me because like I said, I don't have connections to the show. And other than the fact that it's a human face on a robot that, you know, is basically any giant robot show ever, kind of bothers my brain. That's the only aspect that bothers me, so I can't fault the figure for it. Yeah, that's basically it. If you think this guy has creepy or wrong face, go ahead and leave it in the comments down below. Go ahead and check this review out and the reviews with it in my Studio Series playlist. If you want to see other G1 style characters, you could check out the War for Cybertron playlist, where a bunch of the Kingdom and Siege and all that reside. I basically have most of the 86 movie poster cast, I think, at this point, through Siege and that, plus the Studio Series. I'd have to look at the poster again, which is kind of funny, but go ahead and check those playlists out. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you feel so inclined. I think I'm up to about 40 subscribers, and I appreciate each and every one of you guys. I try to remember to say it as often as possible, but I am very scatterbrained, so apologies if I don't say it often enough. And go ahead and check out my social media links in the description so you can see when I post about new reviews coming out, if I remember to do it, not guaranteed. Or ring the notification bell so YouTube can tell you that I've uploaded one if you don't care about knowing early. Like I said, might be switching. I am going to be switching to one video a week for a while, just because of my work schedule. Also because I'm eventually going to run out of things to review. I get new figures when they come out, when I find them, if I like them. So you're not going to see everything that comes out on this channel, especially not third party. If the channel gets big enough, or I can start getting my videos monetized, or big enough that people want me to get a Patreon, then I might think about getting figures that I don't care about. But for now, since the budget is the budget, I'll just be getting things I actually like and reviewing them. So if you want to see me review something specific, you're going to have to wait or fund it yourself. And I'm not going to ask anybody to do that. You can go check out the 10 million other reviews for that figure if you really want to see it. I doubt anyone's coming onto YouTube and specifically watching my reviews for any reason. But that's about it. And I'll see you guys next week with Scourge. And I think I will go ahead and just keep Jazz out and throw him in that comparison review. And we'll just start doing it where it's the last figure I reviewed instead of splitting it between big and small, because I'm only doing the one a week. See you guys with Scourge.